This video is for educational overview only. Viewers are encouraged to study the topic in detail and continue their academic learning alongside this video. Thanks.
Hey there, if you're thinking about launching an app sometime in the next couple of years, well, you've landed in the perfect spot. We're about to break down one of the biggest, most important decisions you'll have to make as a founder. How are you actually going to build this thing?
So you've got it, the vision, that brilliant idea that feels like it could totally change an industry. Or, just make people's lives a whole lot easier. But taking that spark and turning it into a real, working app, yeah, that's where the real work starts.
And almost immediately, you're at this massive fork in the road. And let me tell you, the choice you make right here on how you build your app is going to ripple through your entire business. It's going to affect your budget, your timeline, your team, literally everything.
No pressure, right? But don't worry, that's what we're here for. We're going to walk through all the options, we'll weigh the pros and cons, and hopefully give you the clarity you need to pick the absolute best path for your idea. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, first things first, let's just get the lay of the land. When it comes to building an app, you've basically got three main paths you can go down. You can think of them like different trails heading up the same mountain. Each one has its own unique challenges and advantages. So path number one is what we call native. Now this means you're building a totally separate app for each operating system, one for iPhones and a completely different one for Android. It's definitely the most work, but the payoff is top-of-the-line performance. The code is talking directly to the phone's hardware, so you can squeeze out every last drop of power from the camera, the GPS, you name it. Next up, we've got cross-platform. This is all about efficiency. The idea here is you write your code just once, and then these clever frameworks like Flutter or React Native, they act like a universal translator, making it work on both iOS and Android. The big win? Oh, it's huge. You save a ton of time and money because you're really just building one app instead of two. And path number three is the progressive web app, or PWA. This one's kind of a cool hybrid. It's basically a website that's been supercharged to look and feel exactly like a regular app. And the killer feature here? No app store. Users just go to a URL, they can save it right to their home screen, and it even works offline. It's incredibly accessible. So just to break it down real simple, native means separate code for each platform. Cross-platform is one shared code base for both. And PWAs, they live right in the web browser. This also changes how people get your app. For native and cross-platform, they're heading to the App Store. For a PWA, all they need is a link. All right, now for the questions every single founder has to ask. How much is this going to cost? How fast can we get to launch? And is it actually going to work well? Let's start mapping out the terrain and compare these three paths on the stuff that really matters. Let's talk time and money first. And wow, the numbers here are pretty eye-opening. A fully native app could take you the better part of a year and cost 120 grand, maybe more. A cross-platform app, you can pretty much cut that time and cost in half. And a PWA is even faster and cheaper, which makes it a phenomenal choice for getting that first version, that MVP, out into the world super fast. And you know what's really fascinating is that the spending doesn't just stop at launch. When you look at the total cost over 2 years, with all the bug fixes, updates, and new features, that financial gap gets way, way wider. A native build can end up costing more than double what a PWA does in the long run, mainly because you're paying to maintain two completely separate, complex code bases. Okay, so cross-platform and PWAs are cheaper and faster. Case closed, right? Not so fast. There's another huge piece of the puzzle: performance. How does the app actually feel when someone's using it? Is it snappy? Is it smooth? This right here is where the debate gets really interesting. Now, a few years ago, this was an easy win for native, no question. But just look at these numbers. When you measure the smoothness of the interface, how silky the scrolling feels, these modern cross-platform tools like Flutter are getting almost identical to native performance. They pull this off by basically bringing their own drawing tools to the party, so they don't lose as much in translation. So yeah, native still uses a little less battery, but for most apps, that performance gap has all but disappeared. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Let's look at what the big players are doing. You've got Netflix and Shopify using cross-platform to streamline their whole operation. Starbucks has that super convenient PWA that makes ordering a coffee a breeze. And then you have Amazon, which sticks with native to power all of its really complex, high-performance features. The key takeaway here, they all picked the path that made the most sense for their specific business goal. So, we've talked a lot about today. But you're not building an app for today. You're building it for the future. So we need to look ahead, scan the horizon, and think about the big tech shifts that are going to define what mobile even means in 2026. And if I had to boil down the future of mobile into just one word, it would be this: intelligent. The days of static, one-size-fits-all apps are pretty much over. Users now expect and demand an experience that adapts to them, personally. There are really three big trends pushing this forward. First, AI isn't a novelty anymore. It's becoming essential for that kind of personalization. Second, 5G is opening the door for real-time, high-speed applications that just weren't possible before. And third, with smartwatches and other wearables, your app has to start thinking way beyond just the phone screen. And this isn't just some cool tech trend. It's a massive business driver. I mean, check out the stat. 84% of people say they want a personalized experience, and that personalization directly leads to customer loyalty. AI is what makes that possible on a massive scale. Now, before we land on a final decision, we have to talk about the one thing that holds everything else up: security. It doesn't matter which path you pick. If your app isn't secure, the whole thing is built on a foundation of sand. And believe me, the stakes are incredibly high. A study by Verizon found that a jaw-dropping 43% of all data breaches started with a vulnerability in a mobile app. That is a risk you just cannot afford to take.
So what do you do? Well, it comes down to a few basics that are absolutely non-negotiable. Encrypting all your data, using secure ways to log in, and pushing out regular updates to patch any holes. But you do have to think about it differently for each path. With native, you're closer to the hardware, which means you have more to protect. With PWAs, you get the browser's built-in security, but you have to watch out for web-specific attacks. The bottom line is, this isn't a one-and-done checklist. It's a constant commitment.
Phew. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, right? The different paths, the costs, performance, what's coming in the future, and security. Now, let's pull it all together so you can actually make a choice. Think of this next part as your own personal cheat sheet. This really boils it all down. If your absolute top priority is squeezing every ounce of performance out of the phone, we're talking high-end games or augmented reality, then native is the way to go. If you need to launch as fast as possible for the lowest cost, maybe to test an idea, then a PWA is an amazing choice. But for most startups out there, the sweet spot is right in the middle. Cross-platform gives you that incredible balance of speed, cost, and the ability to reach everyone on both iPhone and Android right from day one. Because in the end, this isn't really a technology decision, is it? Your app is just a tool to help you achieve a business goal. So the last question you've got to ask yourself is this: what are you really trying to build? A lightning-fast prototype to see if an idea has legs? A beautiful, engaging experience for your most loyal fans? Or a platform that can scale to millions of users? The right path is simply the one that gets you closer to that ultimate vision.